Curtis Martin. How are you, Curtis Martin? Curtis said this is his first week watching hashtag Rise and Grind. I love it, Curtis, man. I'm so glad that you're here. Thank you for joining us. It's an absolutely honor to have you here. Listen, this week we've been learning from the most famous person in the world, right? This week we've been learning from Jesus, and that's what I like to do. I like to study successful people. I like to study the people that have rose up above and made an impact on this planet. I love to study them. And so when we study Jesus, no matter what your beliefs are, your religious beliefs or your spiritual beliefs or so on and so forth, just understand that we're taking lessons from those that have come before us, especially in these trying times. The more we can learn, the more wisdom we can learn, the better. And so Jesus is clearly one of the most famous people in history. He's one of the most well-known. He's sold more books than anybody on the history of the planet in more languages for thousands and thousands of years. And this week, what we've learned is that Jesus fought for what he believed in, right? We also learned that Jesus walked in purpose every single day, right? We also learned that Jesus faced all of his fears and said strongly and boldly 365 times in the Bible, "Fear not." We also learned that Jesus was not this sheep-carrying flannel graph Jesus, but really he was a fighter. He flipped the tables. He flipped the tables of the Pharisees, of those that were abusing the system and abusing their gifts. He flipped the tables, right? We also learned that he gave people hope and encouragement. We learned this week from the parable of the talents, how these gifts that are given to us, it's our responsibility to multiply them. We've learned from different stories in the Bible. We've used those powerful stories to connect, right? That's what Jesus did. He used stories and words to connect with people, to communicate with people, to move people emotionally. Regretfully, yesterday's episode of hashtag Rise and Grind got deleted off of Facebook, but we really dove into the power of story. And I will do that episode again later today. I tried to get to it yesterday, but I had too much on my calendar. But I do want to repeat that episode because it was incredible, right? Just the way that he used stories to move people emotionally. And though Jesus faced all of these challenges along the way, he persevered. And so I want to ask that question. I want to ask, but why? Why was he able to persevere through all of those challenges? I know sometimes I have challenges, and sometimes I just want to curl up in a ball in the corner and suck my thumb in the fetal position, right? There's some days, especially during this season that we're going through, there's some days that are good, that I feel up for any challenge. And then there's other days at the end of the night, I'm just like, oh my gosh, right? You ever feel that way? Like that anxiety or that, I don't know if I can do this for another day, right? And then, of course, we wake up, we hit the reset button, we do our morning five, and we do what we got to do. But I think it's human. And I think if you're anything like me, you probably have some moments where you're just like, man, I just want to quit. And I'm sure Jesus, with all of the struggles and the responsibility and the weight that he had on his shoulders, I'm sure that those thoughts crossed his mind, but he persevered. Why did he do that? How did he do that? Right? And I think the answer is this. You see, Jesus was fighting both for something, and then he was using discipline to fight against something. You see, Jesus believed that he was fighting for your soul, that there is a epic battle between good and evil, that there's an opportunity for you to spend the eternity with your Father in heaven. And he believed that wholeheartedly. So he was fighting for you. Jesus fought for you. That truth that he was fighting against something and for you allowed him to persevere. He was fighting for your soul so that you could spend eternity in heaven. And so the way that he did that is Jesus had ridiculous discipline. Like ridiculous discipline. Like I'm talking never sinned discipline, right? Like that's ridiculous discipline. Scott Simons has got some strong discipline, right? Jordan and Kobe had strong discipline. I've got strong discipline. This dude never sinned. That's some discipline. That's real deal discipline. But let's look at some of the stories. Let's look at this story of his discipline. So here it is, the Judas kiss in Matthew 26, 47, 56. It says, while he was still speaking, Judas, one of the 12, suddenly arrived. A large mob with swords and clubs was with him from the chief priests and the elders of the people. His betrayer had given them a sign. The one I kiss, he's the one. Arrest him. So he went right up to Jesus and said, greetings, Rabbi, and kissed him. Friend, Jesus asked him, why have you come? Then they came up, took hold of Jesus and arrested him. At that moment, one of those with Jesus reached out his hand and drew his sword. He struck the high priest's slave and cut off his ear. Then Jesus told him, put your sword back. Listen to this. Here's the discipline. Think about this. This is a big old battle, a big old fight. They're coming to take you away. Your friend just betrayed you, right? One dude brings out his sword, cuts off the dude's ear. Jesus is like, bro, put your sword back in its place, because all who take up a sword will perish by a sword. Or do you think that I cannot call on my Father and he will provide me at once with more than 12 legions of angels? How then would the scriptures be fulfilled that say it must happen that way? Think about the emotions of the situation. Think about the I'm losing that word, but just think about the severity. That's what I'm looking for. The severity of that situation. And look at the calm and the discipline. His ability to, even in the midst of all that, like if that was me and my boys, it'd be on, right? That somebody coming up, y'all trying to take me away. My boy's like, yeah, right? And he's got the sword. He's chopping off your ear. Like it's on. We're fighting. Like let's go. Just the emotions, the adrenaline, all that stuff's kicking in. There's probably gonna be a fight. You ain't gonna see Glenn be like, whoa, allow them to take me and pin me to the cross, right? Like incredibly powerful stuff. His discipline allows him to continue to fight for something. There's another story of his discipline. Jesus went to Mount Olives, but he was soon back in the temple again. Swarms of people came to him. He sat down and taught them. The religious scholars and Pharisees led in a woman who had been caught in the act of adultery. They stood her in plain sight of everyone and said, "Teacher, this woman was caught red-handed in the act of adultery. Moses in the law gives orders to stone such persons. What do you say?" And they were trying to trap him into saying something incriminating so they could bring charges against him. Jesus bent down and wrote with his finger in the dirt. They kept at him, badgering him. He straightened up and said, "The sinless one among you go first. Throw the stone." Bending down again, he wrote some more in the dirt. Hearing that, they walked away, one after another, beginning with the oldest. The woman was left alone. Jesus stood up and spoke to her. "Woman, where are they? Does no one condemn you?" "No one, Master." "Neither do I," said Jesus. "Go on your way. From now on, don't sin." Again, look at the emotions of the situation. Here it is. There's this woman. She's naked. Right? She's naked. She's an adulterer. We all could judge. We all can make decisions. We all do. We all judge and make decisions on people all the time. We say, "Oh, that person's this way," or "They've got this character flaw." We make all these decisions, right? And here we are in the heat of the moment. There's this naked woman. We know she's an adulterer, and everybody has an opportunity to judge. And Jesus, with discipline, he's like, hold up. Takes a deep breath, writes some things in the sand. We don't know exactly what he wrote. He writes some things in the sand. And then he says, "Hey, those of you without sin, throw the first stone." Doesn't make a judgment. Doesn't rile anybody up. He takes this energy of this situation. He takes this emotion of this situation, and with discipline, he just reduces it to the reality of what it is. He communicates effectively and clearly, and they all walk away. You see, Jesus used both what he was fighting for, which was your soul, and discipline for what he was fighting against. He was fighting for something and he was fighting against something. So my question for you today is, what are you fighting for? What do you believe? You see, the old me, the old Glenn, not this guy that you see today, but the one 10 years ago, he only believed in the flesh. He didn't believe in anything bigger than self. He didn't believe that he was a spiritual being. And ultimately, he had no discipline because he had no reason to be disciplined. You see, once you have a bigger belief, a belief in something bigger than yourself, a higher power, a spiritual understanding, once you have a bigger belief, then that both comes with the ability and the responsibility to make an impact in other people's lives. You see, Jesus fought for us. It was never for him. You're designed the same way. It's not for you. You see, you are a child of God, the God of the universe. The God who made everything, made you to be the best version of yourself that you can possibly be. You see, the decisions that you make today, they matter. These challenges that you're going through and how you react to them, they matter. The disciplines that you have both in your careers and in your relationships and in your spirituality, that stuff matters. You see, it makes an impact. It makes an impact on your friends, on your family members, on your coworkers. You being here today, deciding to wake up, rise and grind, and watch this show makes an impact on me. And I, for one, absolutely love you for it. I do. If nobody's told you that yet today, I want to be the first. I absolutely stinking love you. So I just want you to ask yourself that question. What do you believe? If you're having a hard time putting in the disciplines, if you're having a hard time disciplining yourself to do the things that you know you need to do in order to extract greatness out of yourself and make an impact in other people's lives, if you're struggling with those disciplines right now, ask yourself those questions. What do you believe? What's worth fighting for you? That's how we get through these challenges. Knowing clearly what it is you believe, what's worth fighting for, and creating the disciplines to make it happen.